topic for today will be all about current liabilities. Pero syempre, hindi na natin i-discuss pa sa video na to yung premiums and warranties because I already discussed those two concepts in my other video, no? So if you wanna know about premiums and warranties, punta ka na lang dun sa other video natin dito sa channel na to. We're good? Also, hindi rin po natin dito i-discuss yung provisions, contingent liabilities, and contingent assets kasi na-discuss ko din po yun doon sa other video natin dito sa channel pa rin na to. And one last thing na hindi madi-discuss sa video na to will be all about accounts payable and notes payable because those topics or concepts will be discussed in another video pa rin sa channel na to. Maliwanag ba? So sir, ano lang i-discuss mo dito? Well, tatlo lang, no? Ano yung tatlong yun, sir? Una will be the accrued liabilities. Pangalawa will be the deferred revenue. And then pangatlo will be all about the customer loyalty programs. We're good? So start tayo sa accrued liabilities. So ano ba itong mga accrued liabilities na to? Well, talking about accrued liabilities, these are actually the liabilities that are incurred. Once again, these are the liabilities that are incurred or expenses that are incurred but not yet paid, no? Ibig sabihin, nag-incur na tayo ng expenses, kaso hindi pa tayo nagbabayad, kaya sila naging liability. Nagkakaintindihan ba? Ngayon, ganito. Pag-usapan natin yung isa-isang klase o yung bawat klase ng accrued liabilities. Start tayo sa bonuses. So, sometimes, as incentives, no, to officers and managers, many companies establish a bonus agreement with, of course, the bonus usually payable shortly after the end of the year. Ibig sabihin, right, if yung bonus na yun nakabase sa current year net income and then the following year pa lang natin yan babayaran, see to it now na example ito ng accrued liabilities because the expense or the bonus expense is already incurred but not yet paid. Nagkakaintindihan ba tayo? So dito sa liabilities for bonus, meron tayong apat na senaryo, no? So sir, ano yung apat na senaryo natin? Number 1 is that the bonus is computed based on net income before bonus and income tax. Once again, before bonus and income tax. So, sir, anong ibig sabihin yan? Well, ang ibig sabihin yan, bonus. Let's say, bonus rate natin. Lagay tayo ng given. No? If the bonus rate will be equal to 10% and then the tax rate is equal to 30%, see to it here that in scenario number 1, since before bonus and income tax ang pinag-uusapan, bonus here will only be equal to 10% of net income. Ganun lang po yun kadali. Liwanag? So kapag before, don't deduct anything at huwag ka ring mag-aada. Liwanag? Next, punta tayo sa number 2. Number 2 is that the bonus is computed based on net income pa din, but this time, after bonus and income tax. So, this time, after na siya pareho, no? So, kapag after, see to it that bonus will be equal to 10% of what? Of net income. Kaso, since after bonus tayo, so minus B, then minus taxes, kasi minus or after income tax din tayo. We good? Now, paano muna nakocompute ang income tax? Income tax or that tax expense is equal to 30% because 30% ang in-assume nating tax rate of net income minus bonus because bonus here will still be considered as expense. Liwanag? Ngayon, i-substitute natin yung value ng T doon sa first equation natin. So, ang lalabas dyan is that B is equal to 10% of net income minus B, then minus 30% times net income will be equal to 0.3 net income, then 30% times negative B will be equal to negative 0.3 B. Okay? Now, ilabas natin sila sa parenthesis. So, B will be equal to 10% of net income minus B, then minus, kasi negative yan, minus 0.3 net income kasi negative times positive is negative, and then plus 0.3 B. So, bakit naging plus? Kasi negative times negative will be equal to positive. Pagsamahin natin or i-combine natin yung magkapareho, no? So here B will be equal to 10% of what? 10% of net income minus 0.3 net income is 0.7 net income. Then negative B plus 0.3B will be equal to negative 0.7 7B. Okay? Then apparently, ito na ang bonus computation po natin. So, sir, lagi ko bang gagawin yung computation na yan? Well, no. Ginawa ko na to dito para yung dulo na lang ang kibisaduhin mo. So, sir, always ba na ganyan ang formula natin ng bonus? Well, here in number 1, napapalitan of course yung bonus rate. So, kapag 15% yung bonus rate na given, magiging 15% yan. Same thing dito sa number 2, no? Kapag 15% yung bonus rate, magiging 15% ito. Pero kapag 20%, magiging 20% yung 10% na nandito. Then yung loob ng parenthesis naman, naging 0.7 minus 0.7 yan due to the tax rate of 30%. So sir, ibig mo bang sabihin kapag 35% yung tax rate, 0.65 and 0.65 na yan? Yes, tama yun. Kapag 40% yung given na tax rate, times 0.6 minus 0.6 na yan. Maliwanag? Ibig sabihin, para makatipid ka ng time on your board examination or even on your quizzes if undergrad ka pa lang, see to it na hindi mo na kailangan gawin yan palagi. I-memorize mo na lang yung dulo ng computation ko and then palitan mo yung mga figure. So, yung unang papalitan mo is yung bonus rate, then pangalawa is yung nasa loob ng parenthesis. Okay? Now, punta tayo sa third scenario. What is third scenario? Third scenario is that bonus is computed based on net income after bonus but before income tax. Okay? So if computation is that bonus is equal to 10% of net income after bonus but before income tax, minus bilang tayo and then yun na yun, right? Ito na ang computation na kailangan mong tandaan dito sa scenario number 3. Luwanag? Now punta tayo dito sa scenario number 4, no? That's bonus is equal to net income after what? After taxes, but before bonus, right? So dito, if after tax tayo, obvious naman, no? B will be equal to 10% of net income minus tax. Before bonus tayo, kaya wag mong ibabawas or i-add yung bonus. Once again, tax rate is equal to 30% of net income minus bonus, or kung i-expound natin yan, this will be equal to 0.3 net income minus 0.3 B, no? So, substitute mo yung value ng T dito sa unang equation. So, ang lalabas dyan, B will be equal to 10% of net income minus 0.3 net income, then minus 0.3 B. Ilabas ulit natin sa parenthesis. So, B will be equal to 10% of net income minus 0.3 net income, and then negative times negative will be positive 0.3 B. Okay? Pagsamahin natin yung magkamuka. So, B will be equal to 10% now of 0.7 net income plus 0.3 B. Kasi wala namang kamuka si 0.3 B eh. Ibig sabihin, here on our fourth scenario, bonus will now be equal to 10% of 0.7 net income plus 0.3 B. So, sir, lagi ba yan? Once again, dito, kailangan mong palitan yung mga figure. Una mong papalitan is yung bonus rate. Kapag 20% na bonus rate, magiging 20% ito. Then yung sa loob, sa nakabase yung sa parenthesis, sa tax rate. So kapag 40% yung tax rate na given, magiging 0.6 to plus 0.4B. Kapag 35%, magiging 0.65 plus 0.35. Liwanag? Pero hindi mo laging kailangan gawin yan, once again, for every problem. Kasi sayang yung time. Magkamali ka pa, kalagitnaan, no? Nakalimutan mo na negative times negative is positive. So, lagot ka na. So, that's why, on this video or in this lecture, sinasuggest ko na yung dulo na lang or yung mga nakabox na lang po ang iyong tandaan. Okay? Now, punta tayo sa illustrative problem number 1 to illustrate, no? Bonus computation. So, here, Pepper Company has an incentive compensation plan under which a branch manager received 10% of the branch income. Branch income for the year or for the current year before bonus and income tax was 1,650, then the tax rate is 35%. So the requirement is what is the bonus for the current year, assuming number 1, bonus is computed based on net income before bonus and income tax. So here on number 1, B will just be equal to 10% of net income kasi before bonus and income tax. So B will be equal to 10% of 1,650,000. Then finally, B will be equal to how much? This is equal to 165,000. So requirement number 1, 165,000 will be our final answer. Okay? Number 2, bonus is computed based on net income after bonus but before income tax. So, since after bonus tayo, B na will be equal to 10% of net income minus bonus. Okay? So, B will be equal to 10% of 1,650,000 minus the said bonus. Multiply natin sa 10%. So, B will be equal to 165,000 minus 0.1 B. Ilipat mo yung 0.1 B sa kabila. So, magpapalit ng sign, no? So, 1.1 B will be equal to 165,000. Then, divide mo ng 1.1. Both side, makukompute na natin yung bonus. So, here, on scenario number 2, bonus will be equal to magkano? 165 divided by 1.1, or this is equal to 150,000. So, requirement number 2, 150,000 will be our final answer. Okay? Now, punta po tayo sa number 3. Number 3, bonus is computed based on net income after bonus and income taxes. So, after, no? So, dito once again, kapag after, B will be equal to the bonus rate of 10% minus 0.65 net income plus minus 0.65 bonus. Sir, saan mo galing yan? Well, sabi nga natin yung dulo na lang yung kinakabisado sa solution ko kanina. At dito, nagbabago po, no? Once again, nagbabago yung nasa loob ng parenthesis. Depende sa tax rate. Naging 0.7 to kasi 30% ang tax rate. Ang tax rate natin 35%. So, ang loob ng parenthesis ngayon will be 65. Okay? So, B will now be equal to 10% of 0.65 net income, which is equal to 1,650,000 minus 0.65 bonus. Okay? B will be equal to 10% of 1,650 times 0.65, or this is equal to 1,072,500 minus 0.65 B. Okay? B will be equal to 10% of 1,075,500, or this is equal to 107,250 minus 0.65 times 10% is equal to 0.065 B. Okay? Ilipat mo sa kabila. So, magpapalit ulit ng sign, no? So, magiging 1.065 B will be equal to 107,250. Then, divide natin ng 1.065 both side. Makukompute na natin yung bonus. So, here, in scenario number 3, bonus will be equal to 107,250 divided by 1.065, or this is equal to 100,704. So, requirement number 3, 100,704 will be our final answer. Okay? Then next, punta tayo sa requirement number 4. What do we have here? Here, bonus is computed based on net income before bonus but after income tax, no? So, kapag before bonus and after income tax tayo, B will be equal to the bonus rate of 10% times 0.65 net income kasi hindi yun nagbabago. But since before bonus tayo, magiging plus 0.35 B tayo dito based on our solution a while ago. Okay? So here, bonus will be equal to 10% of 0.65 net income, which is 1,650, okay, plus 0.35 B. Okay? Next, bonus will be equal to 10% of, magkano muna to? 0.65 times 1,650 is 1,072,500 plus 0.35 B. Multiply natin ng 10%. So, B will be equal to 107,250 plus 0.035 B. Okay? Lipat natin sa kabila yung 0.035B. So, magiging negative, no? So, 1 minus 0.035 is actually equal to 0.965B is equal to 107,250. Divide 0.965 both side, makukompute na natin yung bonus. So, here on scenario number 4, bonus will be equal to 107,250 divided by 0.965. Again, 107,250 divided by 0.965 or this is equal to 111,140. So requirement number 4, 111,140 will be our final answer. Okay? Are we good? Hopefully we're good, no? Now, punta tayo sa liability for value-added taxes. So kapag value-added taxes ang pinag-uusapan, alam naman natin yan, no? Ito yung 12% na pinapatong for every sale and purchases of goods. Maliwanag ba? So dito, right, for every purchases of goods, once again, for every purchases of goods, always remember na what? Always remember na aside from the purchases, i-add po natin dyan yung tinatawag natin na input VAT para makompute yung total payment, no? So this will be the computation of total payment every time na bumibili ka. Okay? Kapag naman nagbebenta tayo or every time may sale, obviously the sales will be added dun sa output VAT, which is always at base sa 12% para makompute yung total sales. Okay? Then finally, at year end, there is an adjusting entry. What's the adjusting entry? That's to compute the VAT liability or VAT payable. Paano makompute yan? Well, VAT payable will only be equal to output VAT minus yung tinatawag natin na input VAT, and then that's it, no? Kapag unpaid ito or hindi siya binayaran at year end, see to it na magiging part po yan ng current liability natin. Okay? So, para mas magets mo yan, punta tayo sa illustrative problem number 2. Okay? So, here, Pepper Company purchased goods during the year in the amount of 246,400 inclusive of VAT. So, kasama na dyan yung 12% VAT. During the same year, Pepper sold goods with selling price of 330,000, this time exclusive of VAT. So, requirement number 1 is to prepare the necessary journal entry on the purchase of goods. So, on the purchase of goods, see to it that the journal entry is to debit purchases, credit input, VAT, and then credit cash. So, ang total payment daw natin is equal to 246,400. Ngayon, compute muna natin magkano ba yung purchases. So, since inclusive na of VAT yung 246,400, i-divide mo lang yan by 112%. Kasi kung kasama dyan yung 12%, 112% ang nagre-represent sa 246,400. So, 246,400 divided by 1.12, this is equal to 220,000. Then, i-multiply mo ng 12%, no? Yung 220,000, makukuha mo yung input VAT, which is equal to 26,400. Okay? Requirement number 2 is what? Requirement number 2 is to prepare the necessary journal entry on the sale of goods. So, here, debit cash, credit sales, and then credit output VAT. Okay? Since the sales of 330,000 is exclusive, no, of VAT, see to it that that 330,000 will be the amount of sales. Okay? So, para makompute natin kung ilan yung output VAT, yung 330,000, i-multiply mo ng 12%, ang makukompute mo dun is 39,600. So, total cash na na-receive natin ngayon is 39,600 plus 330,000, or this is equal to 369,600. Okay? Now, requirement number 3, prepare the necessary adjusting journal entry at the end of the year. Once again here, i-recognize lang natin yung input and output VAT. So, para ma-recognize, no, yung output VAT, kailangan natin siyang i-debit. So, debit output VAT equal to 39,600. Credit input VAT, para matanggal na natin yung input VAT na nakadebit. That's equal to 26,400. Then, the excess will be called VAT payable. So, this is the amount of liability, no? So, magkano yan? 39,600 minus 26,400, or this is equal to 13,200. So, kapag tinanong ka, how much is the total current liabilities at year-end, kasama itong 13,200, kasi current yan. Okay? Then, lastly, number 4, that's to prepare the necessary journal entry on the payment of VAT to the BIR the following year. So, dito, kapag binayaran na natin yan the following year, the journal entry is to debit VAT payable equal to 13,200, and then credit cash equal to 13,200. So, those are the journal entries about value-added tax. Okay? Now, punta tayo sa kasunod. Kasunod is yung tinatawag natin na payroll taxes. No? So, payroll taxes, sometimes, here, the employers are required by law, no? By law, to withhold from the salaries of each employee, which equal to the amount of what? Ano yung mga wini-withheld natin? Sulat ko muna, withheld. Ano yung mga wini-withheld natin? Equal to the amount of contributions for SSS premiums. Ano pa yung wini-withheld natin? Equal to the amount with regards to the PhilHealth. So, meron tayong tinatawag na PhilHealth. Then, binabawas din natin dyan yung pag-ibig contribution. Pag-ibig contribution. Then, ano pa? Of course, binabawas din natin dyan yung tinatawag natin na withholding tax. Ang ibig sabihin ngayon, kapag ang napag-usapan nyo, no, ni employee is equal to the gross pay of 100,000 every month. Ang laki, di ba? Sana all may 100,000 every month. Hindi yan ang magiging net pay niya at the end of the year. Because kapag sinabing net pay, nakatanggal na lahat. Okay? So, let's say SSS premium contribution, no, every year is equal to 1.6. Next, PhilHealth contribution naman, every month, right? Every month to, is equal to 200. Next, pag-ibig, right? Contribution is sabihin na natin equal to 200 din. Then, withholding tax. Sabihin na natin withholding tax will be equal to 30,000 pesos. See to it now na ang net pay lang na marireceive ni employee will be equal to 100,000 minus 1.6 minus 200 minus 200 then minus 30,000 or only equal to 68,000 pesos. Sa kahit na 100,000 yun ang pag-usapan nila, 68 lang ang marireceive ni employee. So, paano natin yan i-journalize? Well, kapag journalize natin yan, the journal entry is to debit salaries expense equal to 100,000. Credit salaries payable only equal to 68,000 kasi yan lang ang utang natin eh. Then, credit SSS liability which is equal to 1,600. Credit PhilHealth liability equal to 200. Credit pag-ibig liability equal to 200. Then, credit withholding tax liability which is equal to 30,000 pesos. So, this is the journal entry at the end of the month or every month, no? So, see to it na part po, etong lahat, again, lahat ng yan, no? Part sila ng current liability until paid. Kanino binabayaran? Well, yung SSS, ibabayad mo yan sa SSS. Yung PhilHealth sa PhilHealth. Yung pag-ibig sa pag-ibig. Yung withholding tax sa BIR. Okay? So, now, punta tayo sa other accrued liabilities, no? So, kapag sinabi kong other accrued liabilities, lahat na ng accrued liabilities na hindi ko nabanggit kanina. So, paano i-compute yung accrued liability at the end? Well, start tayo, no, sa accrued liability or accrued expenses beginning. Okay? Always dyan ang start, no? Next, ano pang meron? Well, i-add po natin dyan yung mga expenses incurred during the year. Accrued liability at the beginning, yan yung mga accrued liability at the end of last year, no? I-add mo dyan yung expenses incurred this year as well as ibabawas dyan yung mga liabilities paid kasi possible na nagbayad tayo during the year. So, ibabawas natin yung mga liabilities paid during the year. Then that's it, no? Kapag may natira pa, yun na yung tinatawag natin na accrued liability at the end of the year. Okay? So, para ma-illustrate natin yung iba pang klase ng accrued liabilities, let's now move on here in illustrative problem number 3. Very good? So, here, in illustrative problem number 3, Pepper Company must determine the December 31, 2026 accruals for advertising and rent expense. The requirement here is on December 31, 2026, what amount should be reported as accrued liabilities? So, once again, accrued liabilities, these are the expenses already incurred, no? Ibig sabihin, if hindi pa nai-incur yung expenses na yan, see to it na hindi pa po siya liability. Because kung hindi pa siya nire-recognize as expense, hindi rin siya i-recognize as liability. Okay? So, here we have a 50,000 advertising bill, right, that was received on January 7, 2027, comprising of 35,000 for advertisement in December 2026, and 15,000 for advertisement in January 2027. Hindi pa kasali yung 15 kasi pang January pa yon. Pang December 31, 2026 lang ang tinatanong. Ibig sabihin, 35,000 lang ang kasama. Okay? So, first item on our solution is 35,000. Next, a store lease effective December 16, 2026 calls for a fixed rent of 120,000 per month, payable 1 month from the effective date and monthly thereafter. So, kung December 16 ang starting point, asahan mo ngayon na kalahating buwan lang ang nagamit natin. So, kalahating buwan pa lang ang utang natin. So, 120,000 times, right, 15 over 30, that will be equal to 60,000 pesos. Okay? Then, in addition, rent equal to 5% of net sales per calendar year is payable on January 31 of the current year. Net sales is 9 million. So, meron tayong tinatawag na royalties dito, no? So, based daw siya sa sales. So, 9 million times 5% is magkano? 9 million times 5%. This is equal to 450,000. Tama ba? 450. Excess of 6 million pala. So, mali yan. Ibig sabihin, our basis will only be equal to 9 million over 6 million kasi over 6 million, in excess of 6 million. So, 3 million lang dapat to. Sorry na. So, 3 million times 5%, this is equal to 150,000. Then, the total accrued liabilities at the end will be equal to 35,000 plus 60,000, then plus 150,000, or this is equal to 245,000. So, illustrative problem number 3, delta will be our final answer. Again, illustrative problem number 3, delta will be our final answer. Okay? Now, punta tayo sa illustrative problem number 4. So, here nung tinatanong, what amount should be reported respectively, no, as sales tax payable and occupancy taxes payable on December 31, 2026. Okay? So, Tama Raw Beach Hotel collects 15% in city sales taxes on room rentals. So, city sales taxes on room rentals is 15%, no? Then, in addition, a 200 per room per night occupancy tax is also paid, no? Or is also payable. Sales taxes for each month are due at the end of the following month, and occupancy taxes are due 15 days after the end of each calendar quarter. So, on January 3, 2027, the entity paid the November 2026 sales taxes. Ibig sabihin, kung January 3 pa lang nabayaran yung November, as of December 31, hindi pa nababayaran yung sales taxes natin. Again, hindi pa nababayaran yung sales taxes natin for the month of what? For the month of November, and then for the month of December. Kasi January nabayaran yung December or yung November Okay? Next, the fourth quarter 2026 occupancy tax, right, is also paid on January 3, 2027. So, for the occupancy tax, see to it na per quarter tayo. So, that's November, December, and, right, October, November, December, rather. That's October, November, and then December. Then, additional information for the fourth quarter of 2026 is as follows. So, magkano sales taxes natin ng 20, right, ng November muna, ng November 2026 rather. That's equal to 1,100,000 times 15% kasi 15% ang sales tax. So, 11 times 15%, this is equal to 165,000. Okay? Then, for the month of December, magkano po? For the month of December naman, that's 1.5 million times 15%, or magkano yan, guys? 1.5 times 0.15 is equal to 225,000. So, total sales tax liability at the end of the year will now be equal to 225 plus 165, or this is equal to 390,000. Okay? Next, for the occupancy tax, tingnan muna natin kung ilang rooms ba ang total, ilang nights rather, ang total nating na napaupa, no? So, 1,100 plus 1,2 plus 1,8, that's equal to 4,100 nights or room nights. Maliwanag ba? Okay ba tayo doon? Once again, 200 per room per night po tayo. Nagkakaintindihan ba? Right? So, ang ibig sabihin dito, Just multiply, no? Again, just multiply the 4,100 doon sa 200 na occupancy tax per night, makukuha na natin yung occupancy tax payable, which is equal to 820,000. So, illustrative problem number 4, bravo! Or that's 390 plus and 820 will be our final answer. So, that's illustrative problem number 4. Okay? Then, after those, punta na tayo sa unearned revenues naman. So, unearned revenues, these are actually the income already received. Again, these are the income already received, but not yet what? Not yet earned. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa po tayo, right, nagde-deliver. So, no delivery yet. Then also, no rendering, no? No rendering of services yet. Ibig sabihin, wala pa dapat tayong revenue, kaso naka-receive na tayo. That is why meron tayong utang. Nai-gets? So, isa-isahin ngayon natin yung mga iba't ibang klase ng unearned revenue. Start tayo sa liability for gift certificates. Alam naman na natin kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng GC, tama ba? Kapag sinabi po natin gift certificate, this is actually, alright, a paper that is purchased from any department store or any store, and then apparently hindi pa talaga yun sale. So bumili sa atin yung customer, pero nakapagbenta tayo sa customer ng papel lang, pero hindi pa talaga siya bumibili. So nung mangyayari sa GC na yun, well, sooner or later gagamitin niya yung pambayad sa mga goods mo. Albanag? Ibig sabihin ngayon, naka-receive na tayo ng cash, pero hindi pa tayo nagre-render ng service or nagde-deliver ng goods. Kaya itong natawag na deferred revenue, no? So, papaano natin ito kino-compute? Well, dito, ang computation natin ng GC or unearned revenue for GC at the end will just be equal to unearned revenue. Right? GC at the beginning. Then, i-add po natin dyan yung mga GC or gift certificate sold during the year. Baka kasi may nabenta ka pa during the year, no? So, i-add natin yan. Next, anong ibabawas? Ibabawas natin dito yung mga GC redeemed. Again, GC redeemed during the year. Kasi ibig sabihin yan, kung na-redeem na yan, na-classify na po yan as revenue. No? Then, ibabawas din natin dito yung mga GC not expected, no? Not expected to be redeemed. Kasi meron tayong mga gift certificate na nabebenta, kaso hindi naman lahat bumabalik sa atin. Sir, bakit? Kasi may mga tao na nawawala nila or nasisira nila yung GC. And if that's the case, magiging invalid yung GC. So, hindi na yun, mapapapalit pa. Ganag? So, if meron tayong GC not expected to be redeemed, ibabawas na rin natin yun. Then, last na binabawas will be the GC that expires, right, during the year. So, kapag nag-expire na yung GC, see to it na, hindi na rin yun magiging utang. So, kung magkaano man yung balance neto, eto na ngayon yung tinatawag natin na unearned revenue for GC at the end of the year. Okay? So, dito, yung tatlong naka-minus dito, once again, yan po yung revenue natin for GC during the year. Okay? So, here, to illustrate, punta tayo sa illustrative problem number 5. So, SM Department Store sells gift certificates redeemable only when merchandise is purchased. These gift certificates have no expiration date. Then upon redemption or expiration, the entity recognizes the unearned revenue as realized. Okay? So here, information for the current year is as follows. So we have unearned revenue at the beginning, which is 650,000 plus gift certificate sold, which is equal to 2,250 because ang tinatanong dito is yung amount to be reported as unearned revenue at the end. So, bawas natin yung GC redeemed, and then ibawas din po natin yung GC expected not to be redeemed. Then, itong 60% na to, irrelevant lang po yan. Again, this is irrelevant on our computation. No? So, ibig sabihin, unearned revenue na, once again, unearned revenue at the end of the year will now be equal to 650,000 plus 2,250 minus 1,950, then minus 100,000, or this is equal to 850,000. So, illustrative problem number 5, Charlie will be the final answer. Again, illustrative 5, Charlie will be the final answer. Okay? Now, punta tayo sa illustrative problem number 6. Illustrative problem number 6, Regal Department Store sells gift certificates redeemable for store merchandise and 1-year expiration date. Right? Meron siyang 1-year expiration date, no? The entity has the following information pertaining to the gift certificate sales and redemptions. The requirement here, once again, is on December 31, 2026, what amount should be reported as unearned revenue. Okay? So, unearned revenue beginning, 750. So, plus yun, no? 2026 sales of GC, plus din po yan. 2026 redemption of prior year sales, of course, minus yan kasi redemption. Redemption din yung 2026 current year sales. So, minus din. Then, GC, not redeemed within the expiration date, yung mga nag-expire na. So, minus din yan. So, ibig sabihin ngayon, unearned revenue, no, at the end of the year will now be equal to how much? That's equal to 750 plus 2,500 minus 250 minus 1,450 and then minus 300,000, or this is equal to 1,250,000. So, illustrative problem number 6, alpha, will be the final answer. Again, illustrative 6, our final answer will be choice letter alpha. Okay? Now, punta tayo sa kasunod. Next topic or next subtopic about unearned revenue is yung tinatawag natin na container deposit. Because minsan, kapag nagbebenta tayo ng goods, etiko ba yung mga lalagyan, pinapadeposito natin yan kay buyer. Let's say tayo si Coca-Cola, no? So, syempre may mga bote tayong pinapahiram sa buyer. Tama ba? So, kapag nagbenta tayo ng Coke, see to it na humihingi tayo ng deposit from the buyer. Pero yung deposito na yon, ibabalik din natin kay buyer once na what? Once na binalik ni buyer yung mga bote na yon. Nagigets ba? So, since dito, naka-receive tayo ng cash, pero ibabalik din natin yun kay buyer sooner or later kapag binalik na sa atin yung mga containers na yun, see to it na liability din to. Okay? So, paano i-compute yung unearned revenue natin dito sa container deposit? So, unearned revenue, right? Container deposit beginning will be our starting point. Okay? I-add natin dyan yung mga cash received during the year, no? During the year, with regards to the deposit, because possible na may na-receive ka ulit eh. Next, ibawas natin dyan yung mga containers returned during the year kasi possible na may binalik na. So, ibabalik na natin yung cash. Then, lastly, ibabawas din natin dyan yung mga containers not expected to be returned during the year. Because possible na may mga nabasag dyan, no? Wherein, kapag nabasag na yun, hindi na yun ibabalik pa sa atin. So, kapag nabasag na yan, meaning hindi na yun mababalik sa atin, mako-consider na po yan as revenue. Okay? So, ito ngayon, yung computation po natin ng unearned revenue for container deposits at the end of the year. Okay? So, para ma-apply natin yan sa mga problems, let's move on to illustrative problem number 7. Okay? So, here, Ivana Company sells its products in reusable containers. The customers charge a deposit for each container delivered and receives a refund for each container returned within 2 years after the year of delivery. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, kung may expiration pala, dagdagan pa natin to. Again, dadagdagan pa natin ng isa pa. Sir, ano pa yung idadagdag mo dyan? Well, yung isa pa na ibabawas natin dito is yung mga containers expired during the year. Kasi kapag may expiry date or may deadline lang yung pagbalik, asahan mo ngayon na kapag lagpas na sa deadline, hindi na yun mababalik. So, consider na rin po yun as revenue if that's the case. Okay? So, dito 2 years lang The entity accounts for the containers not returned within the time limit as being retired by sale at the deposit amount. The entity provided the following information for 2026. So, we have container deposits on December 31, 2025 from deliveries in the following year. So, ito ngayon, yung ating unearned revenue. Again, ito, yung tinatawag natin na unearned revenue at the beginning. Kasi pang end yan ng 2025. Deposits for containers delivered in 2026. So, ito yung na-receive nating cash, which is 780. Then, containers deposits on December 31, 2026, delivered, right, in deliveries, from deliveries in the following year. So, ito yung mga binalik na sa atin, no? Ni-return na. So, magkano yung total na na-return? 626. So, ni-return na itong 626 na to. Tuwanag. So, itong 2024 ngayon na to, since at the end of 2026, mag 2 years na yan, asahan mo ngayon na expired na yan. So, meron ngayon tayong expired, right, deposits, which is equal to magkano? 150. At the end, no? 90 lang po ang binalik sa atin. So, yung 60 ngayon, expired na yan. Maliwanag? So, magkano ngayon yung liability natin for deposits at the end of the year? Well, here, meron tayong unearned, no, revenue at the beginning, which is equal to 580,000. Ano ba? I-add natin dyan yung deposits received during the year, which is magkano na-receive? Naka-receive tayo ng 780,000. Okay? Next, ibabawas natin yung deposits returned during the year, which is equal to 626,000. Then last, ibabawas po natin yung mga deposits na nag-expire during the year, which is equal to 60,000 pesos. Okay? So, the unearned revenue now at the end of the year will be equal to how much? That's 580 plus 780 minus 626,000, then minus 60,000, or this is equal to 674,000. So, illustrative problem number 7, Charlie will be our final answer. Again, Charlie will be our final answer. Okay? Now, punta tayo dito sa illustrative problem number 8, no? So, here, in illustrative problem number 8, Pepper Company operates a retail grocery store that is required by law to collect refundable deposits of 5 pesos on soda cans. Okay? Information for the current year follows. Liability for refundable deposits beginning is 150. Cans of soda sold during the year is 100,000 cans, and then soda cans return 110,000. During the current year, the entity subleases space and received 25,000 deposit to be applied against rent at the expiration of the lease in 5 years. So, ang tinatanong dito is what amount should be reported as current liability for deposit on December 31? Obviously, hindi nakasama yung 25,000 kasi non-current yan. Sir, paano mo nasabing non-current? Kasi i-apply yan after 5 years pa eh. Nagigets? So, ibig sabihin yung container deposit lang ang kasama dito. So, unearned revenue at the beginning will be equal to how much? That's equal to 150,000. Okay? Deposits received during the year, magkano? Well, that's equal to 100,000 cans times 5 pesos, or that's equal to 500,000. Then deposits returned during the year, magkano po? Well, that's equal to 110,000 times 5 pesos, or that's equal to 550,000. So, ibig sabihin dito, ang unearned revenue na lang natin at the end of the year will be equal to how much? That's 150,000 plus 500,000, then minus 550,000, or this is equal to 100,000. So, illustrative problem number 8, Charlie will now be our final answer. Then, illustrative 8, our final answer will be choice letter Charlie. Okay? Now, punta tayo sa last topic, no? Second to the last topic pala to. Second to the last topic will be the service contracts or sale of extended warranty. So, kapag nagbenta tayo ng extended warranty, unearned revenue pa din yan kasi we receive cash, pero kailan mo lang may incur yung ma-render yung service sa future pa, no? Ibig sabihin, same lang po yan dun sa napag-usapan nating mga unearned revenues kanina, no? So, para ma-illustrate natin yung topic na yun, punta tayo dito sa illustrative problem number 9, no? So, Pepper Company sells office equipment, service contracts agreeing to service equipment for a 2-year period. Cash receipts from contracts are credited to unearned service contract revenue. So, service contract costs are charged to service contract expenses incurred. revenue from service contracts is recognized as earned over the lives of the contracts. So here, what's the requirement? The requirement is what amount should be reported as an earned service contract revenue on December 31. No? So here, an earned revenue at the beginning is 600,000. Cash receipts from service contracts sold, 980. So, i-add din natin yan, no? Minus service contract revenue recognized because, ibig sabihin, hindi na yung utang na-recognize na natin, eh. Then, service contracts expense, ignored po yan sa ating computation. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, meron ngayon tayo ditong unearned revenue at the end, which is equal to magkano? That's equal to 600,000 plus 980,000 minus 860,000, or this is equal to 720,000. So, illustrative problem number 9, 720,000 or delta will be our final answer. Okay? Then, last topic will be all about customer loyalty programs, no? So, dito may dalawang scenario. Award supplied by the entity, then mamaya, no, i-discuss ko yung award supplied by another entity or by a third party. Okay? So, ano itong mga customer loyalty awards na to? Customer loyalty programs or awards, ito actually yung binibigay natin na points every time na may bumibili sa atin. Anong famous example na to? Famous example will be SM Advantage Card and yung Happy Plus ni Jollibee. I don't know, no, kung nag-a-apply or applicable pa yung Happy Plus ni Jollibee. Pero ang alam ko, right, yung SMAC, okay pa rin siya. Sa Jollibee kasi madalas offline na yung Happy Plus nila, eh. Maliwanag ba? So dito, since revenue ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, i-apply po natin si IFRS number 15. Wherein sa IFRS number 15, once again, meron tayong 5 steps on how to recognize revenue, no? So ano yung 5 steps na yun? Step number 1 is to identify the contract. Again, step number 1 is to identify the contract, no? Ibig sabihin, you have to determine, right, if may contract ba. Madidiscuss pa yan in detail pagdating sa advanced accounting. Okay? Number 2 is to identify the separate performance obligation. Right? We're in here, dalawa lang naman yung separate performance obligation natin. Ano yung una? Yung una is yung tinatawag natin na product sales. Then pangalawa is yung mga points. Okay? Number 3 is to determine, no, the transaction price. Again, determine the transaction price. Transaction price, ito yung total selling price na na-receive natin from the customer. Okay? Step 4, allocate the transaction price to the separate performance obligation. So, kailangan mo yung i-allocate dun sa product sales and dun sa points. Paano natin yan i-allocate? I-allocate natin yan based on their stand-alone selling price, no? Once again, gagamitin po natin yung kanilang standalone selling price or yung kanilang relative fair value. Then, step 5 is to recognize revenue. Once again, step 5 is to recognize revenue when each performance obligation is satisfied, no? Okay? So, we will recognize revenue when each performance obligation is satisfied. So, para mas magets natin yan, try nating tignan itong illustrative problem number 9. No? So, here in illustrative problem number 9, SM Corporation grants its customers 1 reward point for every 200 sales. Each point is redeemable in the form of merchandise and equivalent to 1 peso. No? The points accumulated may be used by the customer as part payment for merchandise purchases in the future. The sales during 2026 amounted to 24 million based on standalone selling price. During the same year, SM Corporation expects that only 80% of these points will be redeemed, no? And at the end of the year, 48,000 points have been redeemed in exchange of groceries. So, dun muna tayo, no? So, step number 1, identify the contract. The contract here is between SM and its customers. Step 2, identify the separate performance obligation. Well, dalawa lang. Once again, una yung product sales, pangalawa yung points. Step 3, identify the or determine the transaction price. Transaction price here will be equal to 24 million because that's the total amount we receive from the customer. Step 4, allocate transaction price to the separate performance obligation. So, dito, alamin natin magkano ba yung ating product sales, no? So, product sales standalone selling price is equal to magkano? That's equal to 24 million pesos. Then, for the points, magkano kaya yung points? Well, for the points, that's actually equal to 24 million divided by 200. Kasi for every 200, no, 1 point daw. So, 24 million divided by 200. Then, magkano yung halaga ng bawat point? For every point, ang equivalent daw nun is piso. So, times 1, no? So, 24 million divided by 200 times 1, this is actually equal to 120,000. So, the total stand-alone, no, selling price of the performance obligation will now be equal to 24,120,000. Okay? Ayan, listen very carefully. Right? I-allocate natin yung 24 million na transaction price sa dalawa. Okay? So, 24 million times 24 million divided by 24, 120, or ang na-allocate sa product sales is equal to 23,880,000, right? 597. Then for the points, that's 24 million times 120 divided by 24 million times 120 divided by 24,120,000, or that's equal to 119,403. Then adding these two will give us 24 million pesos. So as you can see, no, kahit na yung 24 million yun yung standalone selling price ng sales, tipo bang inallocate pa rin natin yun sa product sales at doon sa points. Okay? So requirement number 1, what is the journal entry to record the initial sale? Our journal entry is to debit cash, no, equal to 24 million, credit sales, which is equal to 23,880,597, and then credit unearned revenue, because naka-receive na tayo ng cash pero hindi pa natin nadi-deliver yung points, no, which is equal to 119,403. So ito yun yung journal entry for number 1, and that's our final answer. Okay? So, requirement 2, what's the journal entry to record the 48,000 redemption of points during 2026? Once again, during 2026, nag-e-expect tayo na 80% lang of these points will be redeemed, no? So, 2026. So, if you have a total points, no, of, ilan yung total points natin? 240 million divided by 200 is 120,000. And then, ine-expect natin na 80% lang ang babalik sa atin. See to it now, the total points na babalik lang sa atin will be equal to ilan? 120 times 0.8, or that's equal to 96,000 points lang. Maliwanag? So, ilang points ang na-redeem during 2026? Well, total points redeem is 48,000, no? So, revenue now, again, the revenue for the year 2026 will be equal to 119,403. Again, that's equal to 119,403 times 48,000 points yung na-redeem divided by yung total na inaasahan natin, which is 96,000 points, or this is equal to 119,403 times 48 divided by 96, or that's equal to 59,702. Okay? Ibig sabihin, requirement number 2, journal entry. The journal entry will be to debit unearned revenue, and then to credit revenue from points, no? Again, credit revenue from points equal to 59,702. Okay? Now, punta tayo sa 2027. Ano nangyari ng 2027? In 2027, the management revised expectations and now expects that 90% of the total points will be redeemed altogether, no? During the same year, the customers redeemed 49,200 points. So, kung 90% na ang inaasahan natin dito, see to it, no? If meron tayong 120,000 and 90% na nga lang ang inaasahan, total points now na inaasahan nating ma-redeem will be equal to 120 times 0.9, or that's equal to 108,000. Okay? Now, compute natin yung cumulative revenue, no? Sir, papaano yon? Well, hanapin mo muna kung magkano, or kung ilang points na ba yung total na na-redeem.
2026, nag-redeem po tayo ng 48,000 points. For the year 2027, nag-redeem tayo ng, ilan yung na-redeem? 49,200 points. So, total na na-redeem natin for the year 2027 will be equal to ilan? 48 plus 49,2, or that's equal to 97,200. Okay? So, the cumulative revenue now for the year 2027 is paano i-compute? That's equal to 119,403 times 97,200 divided by the total na inaasahan natin, which is 108,000, or this is equal to magkano? 119,403 times 97,200 divided by 108,000, or this is equal to 107,463. Okay? Ayan, listen up guys. Listen up. Cumulative revenue po yan for the year 2027. Ang kailangan lang natin is yung revenue for the year 2027 alone, no? So, para makuha mo yan, from the cumulative revenue of 107,463, ibawas mo lang yung revenue na na-recognize na natin dati, which is equal to 59,702. So, revenue for the year 2027 now will be 107,462 minus 59,702, or that's equal to 47,761. So, to journalize this, no, our journal entry is to debit unearned revenue, then credit revenue from points, which is equal to 47,761 pesos. Okay? And that's our final answer for requirement in number 3. That's the journal entry to record the redemption of 49.2 points during 2027. Okay? Then lastly, number 4, no, what's the journal entry to record the redemption of 10,800 points during 2028? So in 2028, a further 10,800 points are redeemed, and management continues to expect that only 108,000 points will ever be redeemed, meaning no more points will be redeemed after 2028. So if that's the case, see to it now na if 108,000 pa din ang ine-expect natin, right, and wala nang ine-expect na ma-redeem in the future, dito, yung total revenue supposedly na na-recognize natin, which is 119,403, ibabawas lang natin yan, yung revenue already recognized, no? So, gagawin mo lang to kapag tapos na, no? Kapag wala ng points na ma-redeem sa future. So, 2026, ilan yung na-recognize natin? That's 59,702. For the year 2027, nakapag-recognize tayo ng 47,761. Therefore, for the year 2028, magkano po ang ating kailangan pang i-recognize? 119,403 minus 59,702, then minus 47,761, or that's equal to 11,940. So, to journalize, that's debit unearned revenue equal to 11,940. Then, credit revenue from points, which is equal to 11,940. Maliwanag? So, that's for the year 2028. And that's the final answer for requirement number 4. So, that's the customer loyalty programs. Okay? Next, punta tayo sa second scenario. What if the awards are supplied by a third party? So, if the awards are supplied by the third party, asahan mo na on the date of sale, again, on the date of sale, wala na tayong remaining obligation pa kay buyer. Ibig sabihin dito, walang unearned revenue. Once again, if the awards are supplied by a third party, there will be no unearned revenue. But instead, the total amount received from the customer will be recognized as revenue. So, para mas magets mo yan, punta ngayon tayo sa last problem natin. So here, Shell Gas Station participates in a customer loyalty program operated by SM Corporation. It grants SM Advantage cardholder 1 point for every 200 spent on fuel. Cardholders can redeem the points for reduction in selling prices of goods to be bought from SM, and the equivalent peso per points is 1 peso. No? Shell pays SM 0.6 for each point redeemed. Then during the current year, Shell sold gasoline and diesel for consideration totaling 4 million pesos based on the standalone selling prices, and a total of 14 1,000 points are redeemed. Okay? So, ilan muna yung total points natin? Total points will be equal to 4 million divided by 200, or this is equal to ilan? 4 million divided by 200, this is equal to 20,000 points, no? Then, magkano yung stand-alone selling price ng points? Stand-alone selling price of points will be equal to 20,000 points times 1 peso, kasi 1 peso lang. Ibig sabihin, 20,000 pa rin yan. Okay? So, i-allocate muna natin yung 4 million, no? So, here, meron tulit tayong dalawang separate performance obligation. Una is yung product sales, pangalawa is yung points. Standalone selling price of the product sales will be equal to 4 million pesos, while the points will be equal to 20,000 pesos. Okay? Then total will be equal to 4 million 20,000. So, i-allocate natin yung 4 million pesos na transaction price, no? So, magkano yung allocation natin? Magkano yung allocation? Well, for the product sales, that's 4 million, no? Times 4 million divided by 4,020,000, or this is equal to 3,980,100. Then for the points, that's 4 million pesos times 20,000 over 4,020,000, or that's equal to 19,000. Again, this is equal to 19,900. Okay? Then, kapag in-add mo yan, total pa rin yan sa 4 million pesos. So, requirement number 1, what is the journal entry to record the initial sale? So, the journal entry, no, to record the initial sale, right, will be to debit cash equal to 4 million pesos. Credit sales will be, that's equal to 3,980,100. And then, credit revenue agad-agad, no? Revenue from points, which is equal to 19,900. So, as you can see, hindi na po tayo, no? Once again, hindi na tayo dito nag-recognize pa ng what? Nag-recognize pa ng unearned revenue. Okay? Not unlike kanina, right? Unearned revenue muna yan. Number 2, what's the journal entry to record the payment? So, dito, nagbabayad tayo, of course. So, debit, no? Customer loyalty expense, right? Kasi magbabayad tayo kay SM, then credit cash. So, magkano ibabayad natin? Well, ang ibabayad natin will only be equal to 14,000 points kasi yun pa lang yung nare-redeem eh. So, 14,000 points times, magkano yung bayaran per point? 0.6. So, 14,000 times 0.6, that's equal to 8,400. So, total payment to SM is 8,400. Okay? Now, number 3, how much is the total loyalty program expense during the year? So, dito sa number 3, see to it na based po tayo, again, kapag total expense ang tinatanong, based tayo sa 20,000, no? So, 20,000 times 0.6, this must be equal to, magkano? 12,000 pesos. So, final answer, requirement number 3 is 12,000. Okay? So, sir, ano yung journal entry natin dyan? Well, na-recognize na yung 8,400, no? Ibig sabihin, right, 12,000 minus 8,400, or 3,600 na lang ang hindi pa nare-recognize. So, debit customer loyalty expense equal to 3,600, and then credit customer loyalty liability kasi meron pa tayong kailangan bayaran kay SM soon, which is equal to 3,600. So, requirement number 4, how much is the liability for loyalty program at the end of the year? Our final answer now will be equal to 3,600. So, that's the accounting for customer loyalty programs. Hopefully, mahaba-haba man yung video natin for today, marami ka namang natutunan. Thank you guys for watching. Share this, right, to your friends and classmates. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and click the notification bell, okay? So, bye-bye guys. God bless and take care.